Good morning, I'm Toby Hodges and this is the RM1380. We're here to sail it for European Yacht of the Year trials from La Rochelle, September 2023. We've got a nice morning with a gentle breeze, slowly making our way upwind here in about 11-12 knots apparent and making somewhere in the region of 6.5 knots. But this is a very inviting looking new blue water cruiser. So we're just setting up nice calmly, got rid of the Genoa there. You can see the staysail and Genoa both on furlers. And setting up to hoist the spinnaker, make use of this light wind going downwind. So we'll have a quick look through the cockpit as well. Now you might have seen, I did a full walkthrough of the boat at Dusseldorf in January. So I won't repeat that too much. Wanted to look at what it's like sailing it on board and how practical that is really. So from aft here, so immediately you can see the difference here. This one has the optional arch on it, and the point of that is it will carry solar panels. For this one is going to be used for family cruising in the Mediterranean, then across the Atlantic. So solar panels and obviously a dinghy can go on there as well. That is an option to have, and the other thing they're going to fit on here, which I think is a sensible one to have, is a platform there. So it's lift up swim platform, but it also closes off this transom here. So in particular if you've got kids and you don't want to lose things out of your cockpit, yeah, having something here makes sense. Nice cork decking on the cockpit sole here, and beneath me we have a lazarette locker which goes right underneath to the other side, and in between the life raft locker below here. So access to the steering gear and the twin rudders. So you see the quadrants there and there. So the 1380 only has twin rudders, whereas some of the smaller RMs have single rudders. So this has twin rudders, twin keels as standard as well. So bilge keels, ballasted bilge keels as standard. You can opt for a fixed keel version, and you can opt for a lift keel version as well. The latter being an additional sort of 35,000 euros, and a bit more complication, but yeah, will suit some people wanting that shallower draft. Just getting ready to hoist the spinnaker. Yeah, so you can dry out, but it's more for maintenance purposes with the bilge keels, rather than just sticking it on a beach. Whereas with the lift keel, it's not really, it's just designed to get into shallow waters rather than drying out, because you do have these twin keels. For those that aren't familiar with this RM brand, La Rochelle built, they are plywood epoxy boats, so impregnated epoxy plywood on the hulls, and then the superstructure is built from GRP with PVC foam. So you've got all the structures inside the boat are also plywood as well, so you just got epoxy painted plywood interior. What you end up with this shape is a very wide beamy shape. Really practical cockpit, particularly this winch layout which you're looking at now, being able to work the winches from a protected area, and a very bright, inviting rail saloon, which we'll have another look at in a minute. So there's a lazarette locker, you see there, the steering gear linked into the central quadrant, and the life raft locker central. So a few things I like about this cockpit: having a good sized traveller to get mainsail shape, That said, these standard sails, you know, not all that pretty. That's quite a flat mainsail. You can obviously upgrade it. I like having the twin head sails there, staysail and a Genoa. Obviously now sailing with the spinnaker. But yeah, being able to control that nicely, it's well set up for that in the cockpit. It's a really big beamy area. So a couple of things that obviously not so good about that is you're not having anywhere for the tails of the sheets, of the main sheets aft anyway. So you've got to keep control of that, because you don't want the traveller and the main sheet tails getting in amongst your feet, trailing over the edge of the boat. Obviously there's plenty of space for the ones on the coach roof winches, which is good. And obviously it'd be nicer to have an option for lifting boards to brace your feet against when you're at heel. But I like the cockpit sole, I like the traveller, I like all this beam and space back here. And also, you know, this is a real USP of RMs, is to have this forward winch protected station here. So they've always had their primaries inboard in a protected area, and that makes a lot of sense to be able to come in under the shelter. You're not leaning over a coaming or something, you're in here to trim, and that's where you want to be, standing up in a protected area to be able to do it. And you see how they've done that really neatly. You've got the sheet leads coming through these turning blocks. Same with the head sail sheets there going through the thimbles. It just gives you a good working place from where to trim. And then the forward ones, obviously, for your running rigging, and there's the bank of clutches each side that those run through. And they're big tailing locker for all those lines, so that keeps them out of your interior. Good grippy non-slip deck. You've got this large you've got a little bit of a tow rail there, and then it goes to this outboard sort of chine and onto, remembering it's a plywood structure, so you've got flat surfaces. It's a chined boat. Low coach roof, but you've got a nice long handrail when you're moving forward. So good grippy deck, and plenty of space up here. I mean, good little solar panel spot on the top of the coach roof. Lines all kept exposed, easy for maintenance, and then a big foredeck with exposed hatches rather than flash ones. We are just sailing here under asymmetric spinnaker with a nice little bit of swell. Going into the swell, we were just making between 7.5 and 8 knots, punching into it at about 80 to 90 degrees apparent. So this is a La Rochelle designed and built boat. The last design, I believe, that Mark Lombard did before he very sadly passed away in this summer. But I've always been a big fan of Lombard designs, and yeah, he seems to have done another good one here. It's a really nice shaped boat, plenty going for it. Nice performance blue water cruiser. Returning to the foredeck area here, yeah, moving forward, this is 1380, so that's 13.3 feet hull length, 13.3 meters hull length, so that's 43 foot, and over 14 meters with the bowsprit. But you see how that bowsprit gives you that nice forward tack point for your asymmetric, and clears your anchor there as well. So you can set your anchor nice and clear of that reversed stem. So you can see the actual forefoot is forward at the top of the stem. And then in this voluminous bow section, space for a big, deep sail locker in which to put sails like this asymmetric, and your fenders forward of that. There's your chain locker there leading up to the windlass below that hatch. Twin hatches up here because you can have 2 forward cabins. Can't believe many would go for that. I'm sure as standard you have a 3 cabin format, but I mean one of the aft cabins being a workroom. this central feature, and you'll see why when you move into the interior, if you haven't seen that already. It's a breath of fresh air for those walking around from a boat show or whatever, and you're going on down below. It's the old expression to go down below on an interior. Well, this is a very different effect when that happens, because you really don't feel like you're going into the bowels of the boat. It's just 3 shallow steps, and then look how nice and bright and open this interior is. Not one you easily forget. It's really one that harnesses the natural light, and allows you to appreciate and enjoy your surroundings properly. I really like it. So this is a standard, this is what they do, this is a standard finish. It's epoxy white painted plywood. All the bulkheads here are plywood. Yeah, and a bit of timber. So wooden table, a bit of timber surrounds, wooden surrounds around the hull windows. And you can choose obviously your cushion colours and that sort of thing, but otherwise it's about the amount of natural light, the windows, the coach roof windows, the hull windows, and being able to enjoy, see your sails, see what you're doing, see your surroundings. I think it's will be a lot more appreciable to those who have been on multi-hulls and chartering catamarans and that sort of thing as well, to have this sort of beam and space and natural light in here. So I say I did a full walkthrough at Dusseldorf, so we'll link to that. I won't try and repeat that, just to give you a quick look at what it looks like on the water and under sail. Some of the things I like. A good size U-shaped galley, obviously really good size saloon area. The in comparison, I guess, a couple of the doorways into the heads and down into the aft cabins here, a little bit narrow. You have to duck to go through all of them. But then you're into a nice big wide aft cabin or forward cabin, both the aft cabins really. So this would normally be a workshop room with a bunk in it. Yeah, it's got a washing machine in it. This one's family cruising setup, so med sailing, an Atlantic crossing, that sort of thing. Same size in there. That's without the lights on, still nice and light. And then moving forward, yeah, again, 2 steps down into the forward cabin. Really nice setup to have it split in with a heads and sink to starboard and a shower area to port. Yeah, it's done that. Obviously you can split this cabin into 2. Don't think many will do that, because you get a really nice size in a family cruising layout. Really good size cabin in here. So the first boat was used for charter. Second boat for med sailing. This one, number 3, it's family cruising. And this has, yeah, the twin bilge keel setup. So twin keels, twin rudders. If you have a centerboard, lift keel option, that centerboard casing would start about here and it raises to about this high. And it means you lose some of this area in this. So you lose up to about here for the hydraulic ram of that. It also costs a little bit more, and it's about a 10-ton boat, so nothing ultra light, but it feels sporty enough on the helm and enjoyable, especially once you get it above sort of 6.5 knots, 7 knots. It gets onto a chine and really starts powering up. So a plus point here is deep stowage under this raised saloon area, so plenty of room to put all your tins and bottles and stuff for going long distance. That there is the galvanized steel grid and the cast iron keels bolt straight onto that. A couple of bugbears of this, I know it's a plywood boat, but it'd be nice if these was sealed plywood around here, and they had some sort of insulation around it to stop, because it's a bugbear of mine is having these noise, quite a noisy boat when you're walking around, floorboards banging around and stuff. You know, it's a stiff boat, but it wouldn't take much just to put some foam insulation around them, that sort of thing, to help it from making that noise when you're on board. It's, as I say, it's a bugbear about production boats in general, and especially when you're up to this sort of 500, you know, it's €500,000 boat. Well, it's 400,000 standard, but by the time you put all the bells and whistles on it. Anyway, in general, the finish itself is quite good. The paintwork, that sort of thing, timber work, and obviously the hull and deck. So it's only a couple of little bits that would help give it that extra sparkle, I think. So those 3 steps there, lift on the struts, give access to a Volvo Penta sail drive, 60 horsepower standard, 75 horsepower option, and side access panels from each side as well, and further mechanical space further aft. So access into mechanical area from the aft cabin there, so plenty of space to put a genset in as well. Water maker, whatever you want in there. In terms of tank sizes, I think it's standard 250 litres of water, but you can have 150 litres of fuel, but you can have 300 litres. So this mainsail, Once mainsail, staysail and Genoa are standard. Fully battened mainsail from Once. Obviously the asymmetrics and extra. Long been a fan of RMs. I find plywood epoxy really interesting material to build from. I think the shapes are great, designs are great. I think it's, as I say, breath of fresh air inside. Hope you enjoyed the quick sail tour. This one, as I say, starts at about €400,000 ex VAT. For an equipped boat, more like 500. Now to go sailing across an ocean on one, that'd be fun. Hope you enjoyed it. See you next time.